Hey guys, stay patient here. Now I just spent the last 10 minutes practically choking, so please forgive my voice. Hopefully it's going to last out after all that coughing. But here we are for this week's trophy update. Now we're going to start off by taking a look at some of the games we focused on over the last couple of weeks, because some of them have had guides made, very useful guides. So we're just going to point those out to you. First of all, there is Enigmatic, The Ghosts of Maple Creek. This is the game by the same developers as Clockwork Tales of Glass and Ink and Nightmares from the Deep, The Cursed Heart. They do all the kind of hidden item puzzle games, and they're super easy, super quick. This one has got a crazy high completion rating. I think it's 75% of people that have played it have earned the platinum, which is insane for a Western game. Usually you only get that with kind of Japanese Vita titles and things like that. But on PlayStationTrophies.org, Blaze Naruto Shippuden has done both a trophy guide and also a step-by-step walkthrough. Now these are very useful. This is always what I use. It's very nice and easy to follow. It will earn you all the trophies in, I'm guessing, one playthrough or as few playthroughs as possible. So there is that to be able to use now, guys. I know a lot of you will probably be waiting for a guide for this because you know how easy it's going to be. The other one is Knee Deep, which we looked at, I think, last week or maybe the week before. Now, this has had a guide put together by The Mind is a City, who is another one of the regular guide writers, part of the guide team as well, actually. But she's only done a trophy guide, not a walkthrough. Now she often does do walkthroughs, so this kind of makes me assume that maybe it doesn't need a walkthrough. Maybe it's one of those games that's easy enough to complete, but you just need to know what to look out for. And she's done a good job here of pointing out all the trophies that you need to bear in mind as you're playing through each of your playthroughs. Now the last one I want to point out is Linelight. Now we looked at this one last week and I mentioned that it was probably going to be one of those games that would be really difficult to do legit on your own with no guide, and that although it might be much easier with a guide, I wasn't sure if anyone was going to actually put one together. But this guy here on YouTube, Innocentive, I'm going to give him a shout out because he has put together some guides, at least for the diamonds, which is, I think, a key part of the platinum. Basically, that's what most of the trophies are related to. So, completing the puzzles, but also picking up all the diamonds on your way through, which are all quite well hidden from what I can tell. So props to him, because I think it's a very new channel. As you can see, he's only got 47 subscribers, and I believe the only game he's covered, he must have literally just opened the channel. Oh no, he has got, okay, he has been at it for a while. Well, good on him, because usually when people sort of stick with YouTube for over a year and they don't really get anywhere with it, they maybe give up. So let's do him a solid and send him some subs, guys. Go and check him out, because like I say, he's like the only person who's really put together a guide. There's no guide on PlayStationTrophies.org, but he's got videos showing how to do all of the different levels. I haven't tested them out or tried them myself, but I can only assume, I'm a positive guy. I'm gonna assume that he's done a good job with it and covered everything well. So go and check out his videos, follow the guides if you're planning on platting Linelight. It does make it quite nice and quick. In fact, we're going to double check. If we just look at the fastest completion time, it's got a high percentage here. Almost 25% of people who have played it have platted it, so it can't be too bad. But, a lot of those people have probably followed the guide. The fastest here is under 7 hours, so I'm guessing all the rest of these people played it legit and took a bit longer. But it looks to me as though it's definitely possible in 7 hours or less if you're following a guide, maybe even less than that. I doubt someone's sat through 7 hours straight. So, who knows? I think it's one worth checking out, and I've heard good feedback about it as well. So, like I say, go and give this guy some subs. I'm going to link his channel at the end of the video so that you can find it nice and easily. And hopefully that will help you guys out. But we're going to move on to... Actually, no, we're not just yet. We're going to just point out one other game that I mentioned as a potential super easy trophy set. No platinum, but you'll remember from a couple of weeks ago, Ruckus Rumble. This was I think it was the really bad looking kind of top-down 4-player like battle arena type game where you've got that grappling hook, you can pull yourself in or pull yourself across the level, and then you just basically melee each other until they go down. It looked very basic, but I looked through the list And it seemed to me as though all the trophies could be literally boosted on one PS4 just using 2 or maybe 3 or 4 controllers, depending on how many players the trophy requires. I think there's one here that requires 4 controllers, I think. Or at least 4 people. Maybe you can play it online, but eliminate 3 opponents. No, sorry, that's... get 2 opponents into the piranha-infested waters at the same time. So you need at least 3. But as you can see, guys, the average completion, 76%, almost 70% of people have 100%ed it. So this does definitely look like it is going to be one of those super, super easy, quick trophy sets. In fact, let's check how fast people have done it. Yeah, look at that, guys. Literally everyone in the... Well, there's only 45 people that have done it, but the top like 40 probably have done it within an hour. And people have done it in as quick as 6 minutes. So that's that's definitely worth checking out if you don't need a platinum from every single game you play, of course. Now we have some interesting titles today. We're going to pop down here and find where we finished up last week. We got Arcade Archive's Mutant Night. I'm not sure if that's available on the US store. I think they are all coming out on the US store now. It used to be Japan only, but this looks like one of the super easy Arcade Archive games. They're all straightforward, but some of them are just ridiculously easy and can be done in about 5 or 10 minutes. So this looks like it's one of them. Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin. We're going to check out a trailer for this. This is like 10 minutes long. We're not going to watch it all, but I just want to show you what kind of game it is. Because a lot of you will remember Psychonauts from the PS2, I believe. It was remastered for the PS4, but it wasn't a very good remaster. And it's really starting to show its age, apparently. It didn't get received very well. But this here, this is a VR game, so it's not going to be something that all of you are going to be able to play, unfortunately. But it's basically, if we just skip through a bit to where there's some gameplay, as you can tell, you can always tell a game is VR because of the way the kind of view sort of wobbles around a bit. But this is basically like a point-and-click adventure. We all know how easy they are, but I think adding the VR aspect will just give it a new layer of, not just novelty, but it will just add something to the game, you know? Because point-and-click adventures all feel fairly similar, don't they? But if you're actually there in the environment, you're able to look around, it's not 2D, you can kind of look around and grab stuff with your Move controller like he is there. And this is just like the tutorial section, I think, that he's playing through for the purposes of the trailer. But I think this is very likely to be super easy. It doesn't have a platinum, unfortunately. But for those of you with, with a VR headset looking for some easy trophies, I think this is going to definitely be up there amongst those trophy sets that, are real nice and straightforward. I'm not sure if it's going to need a guide or anything. I don't think there's anything particularly interesting in this trailer. It's all set in the same environment. It's more of a kind of showcase for how the game works. So we'll leave it there for now. But if we just have a quick look at the trophies, most of them involve, rescuing. I'm guessing these are story related. You have to rescue, all these different people, and then you have to escape. These might be characters from the first game, but I've never actually played it, so you guys probably know better than me. Escape the Rhombus, help coach out with fire. So there's a few here that I think are kind of miscellaneous, maybe missable ones, but I don't think they're going to be difficult. Like here, play the song melody on the keyboard in the cruise ship. You could easily miss that, but as long as you know it's required, then you can easily just bang it out when you're there and move on. So this definitely looks like a nice, easy 100% for you VR owners. Now, just while we're on the subject of VR, we'll take this opportunity to mention Mervilles as well. Now, this looks kind of cool. I think if it was not, VR, then it would be a bit, it'd just be a bit basic and wouldn't have anything special about it that would appeal to anyone. It'd be pretty kind of bare bones, I suppose. But because it is VR, it gives it a new lease of life, And I quite like playing third-person adventure games like this in VR because although you think of virtual reality as being suited towards first-person so that you're seeing through the eyes of the actual character you're playing as, sometimes it's nice. I've only really played... Playroom VR has got a level in it that is basically third-person, like, platforming. It's literally just one level. That's a super easy platinum Playroom VR. But it was fun. You know, it was the kind of level that would have just been boring and childish, and there wouldn't have been much point to it if it wasn't in VR. But the second you put a VR headset on, you're able to look around the environment. It really adds something to the experience and makes it a lot more enjoyable. So I'm actually quite interested in this. It looks quite childish and basic, like I said, but it should be fun, you know, just with that extra VR aspect to it. If we just check out the trophies here, they look pretty simple as well. And this, this doesn't have a platinum either. It's quite annoying. A lot of the VR games don't have plats, but I'm still interested in it. Basically, completing, you've got to defeat all the enemies in level 1. You've got trophies for completing all of the different worlds, and then there's a bunch of different levels within those worlds. And there are just miscellaneous trophies that you earn along the way in each level. So things like carrying out certain actions or completing certain levels without taking damage. None of them look too difficult. You've got one for finding all the hidden areas and all of the pages of this book here. So they're the two kind of collectible based trophies, I suppose. And I guess it depends on whether you can go back and replay levels, but it doesn't look difficult. It looks kind of fun. So we got 2 VR games out this week, or at least added to PSN profiles this week, that unfortunately don't have platinums but look very simple and straightforward and quite fun as well. We have a 4th stacking list of 3-on-3 freestyle. This isn't easy, but it keeps popping up every single week. It looks like there's a new trophy set for this game. Loot Rascals looks kind of weird. If we take a look at a trailer for this as well. Now this looks to me to be almost like an RPG or like a looting game geared towards children possibly. So that makes me think that it could well be nice and easy. Now the first section of this trailer is just like cutscene, which won't make any sense because we're not listening to the sound here. Pardon me. But as you can see, it's just making your way through environments. It might be procedurally generated, I'm not sure, because all these environments are very simple and very similar. But it's all about just taking out enemies and looting their gear, I suppose. So it's very much about the loot, and I don't know whether it's armor, weapons, or what really. But I don't know, it might be a laugh. It does strike me as quite basic, which is why I think maybe it's geared towards children. Maybe it's like designed to teach children the basic mechanics of an RPG. And I think this has a plat. We'll take a look at the trophies in a moment, actually, because if it does, I get the impression that it is going to be a nice, easy one. I think we're basically at the end of the trailer there. This does have a platinum. A couple of people started playing it, but you know, only 3 people. They've only just started it probably. Maybe got early access or whatever. Now I think with games like this, it's worth having a look at just the gold trophies, because that gives you an idea of what the hardest requirements in the game are. So you've got some things that require, like here, escape within 600 turns and escape within 30 minutes. Now I'm not sure if that means escape from one planet. Maybe there's lots of planets that you visit. I'm not really sure how the game's structured. But you've also got beating a world without taking damage. See all the unique cards. That could be a pain if it involves a lot of grinding, but to me it seems like the whole game is a grind, really. Doesn't seem to be any point to it, to be honest, apart from just looting. Complete all the quests in one playthrough. That makes me think that there are lots of planets because, I don't think one planet. I don't think within 30 minutes, if you could complete the whole game within 30 minutes, then there wouldn't be time for all side quests and stuff. So I think it's a case of going from planet to planet and trying to complete the side missions that you come across along the way. But, you know, I'm just speculating here. I think it could well be an easy one, but it remains to be seen. Sometimes games are a bit misleading when you watch a trailer for them, and they end up being much harder than you think they're going to. Now, Styx Shards of Darkness actually looks really cool. It's a series that I'm not that familiar with. It's part of the Of Orcs and Men franchise. And if we take a look at the guide for the previous Styx game, which was Master of Shadows, I mean, obviously, there's no saying whether this is going to be, the same trophy-wise as the previous game. If it will load for me, there we go. So the previous game got a 3 out of 10 difficulty, 36 to 50 hours completion. So like I say, there's no knowing how long or difficult the new Styx game is going to be. But, you know, that might be something to go on, the fact that the previous game was quite easy. And, I mean, before we look at the trophies, actually, let's check out a trailer. In fact, rather than a trailer, we're going to check out this longer video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but just kind of give you an idea of what the game looks like. It's basically a stealth game. It's all related to stealthing through levels. It gives me a kind of Shadow of Mordor vibe. When you look at this, you'll probably see what I mean, like graphically, and some of the enemies, obviously, there are orcs involved as well, which kind of helps it seem a bit Lord of the Rings-ish. But it's all about kind of sneaking through. Let's have a look here. You've got all these different ways that you can interact with the environment to get kills in different ways. The idea is to stay undetected, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. It's one of those series that often gets overlooked if it releases at the wrong time of year. So you can imagine if this came out a few months ago, then there were so many AAA games coming out that it would have just got ignored. But this is probably a good time of year, although it might get overshadowed by Horizon Zero Dawn, which looks amazing. And unfortunately, we don't have the trophies for that up yet, but hopefully they will be added soon. And I might actually do a separate video just discussing the trophies for that game, because I know a lot of people are waiting for them, me being one of them. But if we take a look here at the Styx trophy list, it's worth mentioning actually that the previous game, Master of Shadows, received an average review score of around a 7 out of 10. It was a PS4 game as well, and for some reason I never tried it. But I think I may go back and check it out. It looks really cool. But the trophies here look very, very simple. You've got all these ones here for finishing the different missions. The only ones that are worth pointing out, because I looked through and all of them look really, really easy. But we've got one here, look. Unlock gold level for all insignias in all missions. Now this, I don't think is going to be as bad as it sounds, because if we look at these 4 trophies, we get an idea of what those insignias are going to be. So we've got here, finish a mission with the gold insignia of the Thief. Finish one with the gold insignia of the Shadow, the gold insignia of Swiftness, and of Mercy. Now, these give me the impression of, well, Thief kind of makes me think maybe you've got to go through a mission while stealing a certain amount of items or certain amount of money's worth of, you know, things out of enemies' pockets or whatever. Shadow kind of gives me the impression of going through the level undetected. Swiftness, I'm guessing, is a speed run through the level, and Mercy would be not killing anyone. I don't know this for sure, but that's what I assume based on the names of the, you know, these different insignias. So I'm guessing you can replay levels multiple times and maybe go for a different insignia each time. So maybe on one run, you try and blast through real quick to get the Swiftness insignia, and then you go back and do a run where you could probably combine all the other 3, maybe all 4 of them, to be honest, but you could probably go through stealing without being detected and without killing anyone. So it seems to me as though this trophy here won't be that bad. It's just a case of replaying the missions and earning all the different challenges or getting like gold level within all these different categories. And all the rest of the trophies, guys, they just look so easy. They really do. This one might be a bit situational, be saved by a life-saving clone, but if you have a look through yourself, you'll realise that it's literally just a case of getting a certain type of kill so many times in the game, and they're not unreasonable either. Things like kill 5 guards with acid traps. You know, it's not like kill 100 guards by doing this or that. It's just a few, you know, just so that you kind of to make sure that you do try out the different ways of getting kills, the different ways of playing. And this looks like a great trophy list. I have to say that because, you know, I really want to recommend this game. I haven't played it, but it looks really cool and the trophies look great. It looks like the kind of game that does require you to kind of use all the features of the game and get to know the game well and play well as well. But there's nothing difficult, there's nothing grindy, there's nothing long-winded. It just looks really, really good. So check this out, guys. I think I'm definitely going to pick this up because it looks easy but interesting. And yeah, I think it's going to be one to keep your eye on. Now, if we move up the list here, we've got a game here called Tango Fiesta. Now, when we take a look at the trailer for this, you'll probably be reminded of Broforce. And to begin with, this game was actually accused of being too similar to Broforce. It looks very similar, but it is its own thing. You know, a lot of games look like other games, and it's fair enough. But the interesting thing about this is that it was built, or it was kind of designed initially as part of a game jam. Now, what that was, or what that is basically when they hold a competition for game developers, like small teams of developers, and they all get together in the same building, and they're given, I think it's either a day or a weekend, to basically design a simple game from scratch. And they do that well in this kind of competition scenario. And at the end, I'm not sure who decides on the winner, whether it's a vote or whether there's judges there. And I don't even know if these guys won. I think they did, but obviously a lot more work has gone into the game since they created it over that short weekend. But I just thought that was quite interesting, because I didn't really realise that type of thing existed, you know? A bunch of guys just locked in a room, basically like make a game, winner takes home. I think the winner only got like ultrabooks, you know, some like decent powerful laptops or whatever, just to help with their game design. The other interesting thing is how the name came about. During that weekend, still going. During that weekend, they were out one night. Apparently they were all like drunk, or at least like tipsy, and they came across a advert for, like on a door, there was an advert for tango classes, for dance classes. And I guess they noticed it, maybe they were joking about it or whatever. And well, kind of intoxicated, they said, you know what, whatever happens tomorrow, we're going to call our game Tango Fiesta. And I think it was a case of like, maybe they didn't even know what their game was going to be yet, but they decided to call it Tango Fiesta. And then they said that the next day they stuck with it, and they were pleased that the game, or the name, did seem to suit the game, as it turned out. But I thought that was quite interesting. But obviously with this being an old school, 8-bit game, or maybe 16-bit, I always get confused, it could be quite difficult. Quite often they are. There are trophies here. There are a lot of trophies for killing bosses with melee attacks. That seems to be something they've put a lot of focus on. You've got to kill almost 2,000 bad guys with Bionic Cop without dying. It doesn't look too bad. From having looked through the list, it doesn't look crazy, but it really depends on how difficult the game itself is to play. So that's one that remains to be seen, really, but it looks kind of cool. And I just thought the whole story behind the development of it was quite interesting. Okay, next up we have Night in the Woods here. Let's have a look. We'll check out a trailer for this one. Now, this game is a Kickstarter, or was a Kickstarter. It was funded via crowdfunding. I mean, you guys know what Kickstarter's all about. They asked for $50,000. That was their original goal, and they ended up receiving over $200,000, if I remember correctly. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, there's something about this game that appeals to people on that Kickstarter campaign, enough so that they're willing to pay up front and give some support to it. Now, it's a bit odd because I was watching this earlier, and it looks as though there are so many different genres thrown together here. There's like platforming, there's mini games, there's music sections like this, there's a lot of like talking to people, maybe not exactly RPG elements, but I don't know whether you'd call it social elements, or I guess it's an adventure game. I did look it up on Google, and that was how it was described. So it's an adventure game with different aspects of other genres thrown in. It all looks kind of odd. It's pretty difficult to pin down exactly how it's going to play based on all this mashup of different moments from the game. But it looks kind of interesting, and I think it has a platinum, does it? Yes, it does. So let's have a look at the trophies here. Yes, I remember actually. I did look through these, and I'm afraid we're not going to be able to tell anything about the difficulty or time requirement, because this is one of the games where they've decided to make all the trophy names and descriptions really, really vague to not give anything away, which is fair enough. And sometimes that's quite cool, because when you do earn the trophy, you then see the name pop up on screen and you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Kind of, you wouldn't have known what it was about beforehand, but when it pops, it makes sense, and maybe there's a bit of a joke in the trophy title or whatever. But literally, like all of these, I mean, they're so ambiguous. There's nothing you can tell about what's required. Like here, horror show, everything sucks forever, says 15-year-old horror aficionado and train tracks lurker Laurie M. I mean, you could probably assume that you need to talk to these two characters and get them to say that, but most of them, like this one here, the trophy's just called what, and the description is, huh? Okay then, So, I mean, it could be that all these are story related, but I think there's probably going to be some miscellaneous or missable kind of requirements in here. So I think this is going to be a difficult one. We're going to need to wait until someone earns the trophies and then gives feedback on them, and then someone kind of collates all that feedback and hopefully puts a guide together. And I think when they do, the game itself didn't look difficult by any means. There was nothing in that trailer that looked even remotely tricky. So hopefully, once we know what those trophies are talking about, we'll be able to earn the platinum nice and easily. Next up, we have a pixel story. Now this, as you can imagine, is a sort of pixelated 2D platformer. There are a lot of these knocking about. I just noticed in the description there, BAFTA nominated, so it's obviously been received quite well. This actually reminds me a lot of Super Meat Boy, which was a great game. You know, it received a ton of plaudits, really good response from reviewers and the community. But of course, a lot of you will know how difficult it is. It's one of the hardest platinums on PS4. That's not to say that this necessarily needs to be difficult too, but quite often when games have this graphical style, they need to make them difficult or super easy, I suppose, because people, you know, trophy hunters would buy it if it was super easy, but they like to make a name for themselves because it's not all about the flash or the graphics or anything. They can make a name for themselves by making a really clever mechanic for the game, a bit like with Super Meat Boy, and for it to really drive home how clever it is, you need to make those games difficult, because if it's too easy, then you don't need to rely on the mechanics in the game, and it doesn't sort of sink in how clever it all is. So I kind of assume this one's going to be tough. There's not a lot we can really say from the trophies once again. But yeah, I'm going to say that this is likely going to be a tough one. I'll eat my words if it is easy, and I hope it is. Or not easy, but, you know, at least doable for the average gamer. But yeah, it looks kind of interesting. Now, I don't really know anything about the... Is it Ys? I've never actually heard the name of this franchise spoken, so I don't know whether it's Wise or Ys or what. But these are, as far as I know, they're RPGs, like Japanese RPGs, and let's have a look. Action fantasy, or maybe it's... Oh no, genre. Yeah, RPG. So there's a lot of games in this series. We're not going to watch a trailer for this one just for the sake of time and for the fact that I really know very little about these games. But hopefully someone may be able to leave a comment below, you know, if you're experienced with this series and, you know, you enjoy them. Just let us know what you think. I think they're quite well regarded, you know. In fact, I believe this game on Steam got a 10 out of 10, you know, average vote across everybody. And I think I was searching for it on Google, and it comes up with like a prefix to the name, something to do with online. So I think maybe it's an online game, but I'm not really sure. We don't have time to look in detail at every game though, unfortunately. So we're going to check out Chime Sharp. Now, this was actually, this is a second trophy list for the game. It's not showing up on PlayStationTrophies.org yet, so it's a very recent, well, obviously it was added today. They haven't had a chance to add it there yet. But, this was a game that was added, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we just didn't have time to look at it back then. But I'm glad I did take a look now, because if we check out a trailer here, it turns out that it's received a really good response. A lot of people really love it. It does look difficult, but it also looks nice and relaxing. You know how some puzzle games... I will point out actually that it's a bit of a long intro here. I will point out that it's music based, so you guys aren't going to be able to hear the music. The music sounds pretty cool, and it's basically Tetris, like a spin on Tetris, but based on music in some way. And I'm not entirely sure how the music plays into the gameplay, but it's kind of a rhythm action game, but one where you're connecting shapes and stuff for well, you can see it here. I mean, it's difficult to tell exactly how it plays. Oh, pardon me. But yeah, it looks kind of interesting. And if we read some of the unique and memorable, there are some comments about how relaxing it is to play, which is pretty cool. Because sometimes you want to just sort of chill out. I mean, it might not be that relaxing for trophy hunters. You know, if it's a difficult set of trophies, I think I checked a trophy guide for, I think there was a version of this on PS3. We'll actually check it out in a minute, because I think this is like almost like a remaster or a re-release, or kind of maybe a sequel of sorts. But the game was originally called Chime, and it did come out on PS3. There's a trophy guide for it, which gives it a 9 out of 10 in difficulty. So I'm guessing this is going to be difficult too. It probably is the same game, but just with some adjustments or some additions, maybe extra levels and things like that. In fact, let's just double check it, because yeah, here we go. So we've got Chime Super Deluxe on PS3. Didn't have a platinum. We go to the trophy guide here. 9 out of 10 difficulty, 5 to 15 hours. Let's just check and see if there is a difficulty rating thread. Yeah, difficulty rating, okay. 7 votes or 7 comments. There you go, look. So it's quite unanimously a 10 out of 10 difficulty. Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough one, guys. Props to any of you who end up earning this. If you challenge yourself, if you're not the kind of person who feels like they need to earn 100% on every game, and you're willing to try out a game, if you enjoy the challenge, you know. There are a lot of games I play like that, where the fact that they're difficult kind of make them more appealing to me. And often I'll just do them on a blank account. And then if I do happen to earn the trophies, I'll sync it to my account, which is something we're going to explain at some point during the How to Be a Trophy Hunter series. Anyway, guys, that's our lot for today, I think. So I'm just trying to think if there was anything else I was going to mention. I wanted to say a big thank you actually for the response to the Patreon related video. I had quite a few of you jump on Patreon and, you know, sign up, start supporting me by pledging. So that's really cool. Thank you for that. We're actually going to read out all those names during Wednesday's show. And those guys are already getting involved with suggesting ideas for my videos, and we're already voting on the next guide that's going to be put up. And I think the winning game at the moment is Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. So you should be able to expect a guide for that game as my next guide. It will take a bit of time because it's like a 10-hour plus platinum, so I'll need to do it all. I've already done it on my account, so I need to do it on like another account, because I don't think I'll be able to do it on a blank, because you need to upload your save, I believe, at one point, so that you can earn 2 different trophies by taking different routes or something. But yeah, hopefully that one will be up, and that will be a decent one, because obviously it was free a couple of months ago, so most of you have it. So hopefully that will be one that will appeal to all of you. But in the meantime, guys, don't forget to check out the flash sale on the US store. It's only up until tomorrow. It's only got about 24 hours to go, so make sure you jump on there. You've got games like the Linelight, oh crumbs, what's the monster truck one? Monster Jam, Crush It, that's it. And several other easy platinums on sale. And you've got some really cheap prices for like Shadow of Mordor is $8, the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC and a separate trophy list. And then you've got Infamous Second Son for $8. That showed up on my, easy and fun platinums top 10. So guys, don't forget to have a look there. Buy any games that interest you. Check out my channel for guides for the Linelight, of course. And I want to say a big thank you for watching. As always, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you very soon.